But hey, it's just a glass. When you're making excuses for sin, when you are eating grandpa like it's sherbet, when you are partaking in coarse jesting, gossip in the office, random weird strange talk, you're not lost, and neither are you going to be thrown in the lake of fire for all that strange activity. But honey, your prayers are going to start bouncing off a ceiling like some helium balloons in a house. They're not going to go further up enough until you are out here being given answered prayer. And if you can't bring down strongholds, strong men, you're out here dealing with people going back to the drawing board, planning again, plotting and scheming to win against you once and for all, to eliminate you, to neutralize every last one of you off the face of the earth. But this time around, they're going to be more stealthy, more pernicious. They're going to plan hotier. They're going to essentially come up with a game plan that is going to get rid of you altogether until no longer there is a threat of their satanic organizations falling apart. That's what happens with Israel, Iran, and all of her state-sponsored proxies that are now wobbly-legged, taking for granted that Israel is not presently at strong war against African nations that are Islamic, taking for granted that they've got America. They are going to enter into a peace deal. Do you understand what I'm saying? Where it is that, okay, whoa, we just want peace. But however, because they don't have the Holy Spirit, because they ain't got no Holy Spirit, because they're not born again, only enabled by God, who will take up their cause for his own name's sake, not so much for theirs, they will not be able to walk in the discernment of the Holy Spirit and see this for what it is. These people are only making a deal with us so they can recoup and come back with an annihilationist strategy that's going to wipe us off the face of the earth once and for all, so we can never be the threat that we ever were to them. And that's how Gog and Magog, I believe, happens. They sign a deal with Satan and the Antichrist of which fosters a peace deal between Israel and her enemies, which God showed me, Strong's Concordance, Greek 1120. They're going to fall on their knees. And because of how Israel will have significantly weakened them, albeit being just a small sliver of land, and because of how Israel is just so diplomatic, it's so diplomatic. They are so humane in their war efforts. Of course, when somebody out here with a contrite spirit, appearing to be contrite, with a broken heart and a contrite spirit, they're not going to say no, turn away, because they believe in the Torah. They believe in a merciful God. They believe in a forgiving God. They believe in letting sleeping dogs lie and letting water be under the bridge. Insofar as you will stop barking all up in their grill with your rabid teeth, trying to kill every Israeli baby. Insofar as you can make them a promise that you're not going to do it, and there are things in place that evidence that they're not going to do it. Israel will be like, okay, how many times did they give Iran a chance? How many times did they give Hamas a chance? How many times did they give all of these enemies about her a chance? The Ring of Fire. So many negotiation deals being fostered between Israeli leadership, Israeli military leaders, and those of her enemies. Because that's how God will have his servants be. Magnanimous. But when a person is plotting your demise because they want you disgraced, when you're dealing with Cain and Abel, both brothers belonging to the same parents, but the one is rejected while the other is embraced, when you're dealing with Esau and Jacob, when you are dealing with a division in a household, because that's exactly who Ishmael is, the son of Abraham. Cain will always want to kill Abel. It's literally never going to give. They feel like they were born first, and so therefore they get to thrive. It's always going to be that way. The war between Christianity and Judaism, and the war between Islam and Christianity and Judaism, is going to linger all the way up until the second coming of Jesus Christ. Muslims will never come in our camp. Muslims will stay stubborn, some of them, from what the Lord showed me, all the way up until the second coming. They will be so devout for Allah that they will not take the mark of the beast. And the only thing that's going to convert them to the one that they tried to coup is going to be the second coming. The proof of Christ in the pudding is going to evangelize the remaining Islamic nations. Iran is going to be once again at the bosom of Christ like mother hen. Egypt is going to come back like chicks to mother hen, to God. Many of these African nations that have got a Muslim caliphate in them, many of the Middle Eastern countries, only Edom. There are countries that are just written off once and for all, forever, right? They can't come back because they're just that written off by God. But the rest of the Lebanon, goodness, they're coming back. These Islamic nations are going to be essentially Christian. You know how Muslims have got these hopes and dreams that the whole world is going to be converted to Islam? Well, honeys, I got a reality for you. That's a check from here to Timbuktu, like a teacher's tick on your script after writing an excellently studied for essay. Here's your tick mark, a reality check of that nature. You are going to come to Christianity, not the other way around. Muslims across the planet, all of y'all are the ones that are going to drain the faith. The Lord is going to gather the way that a mother hen ought to be gathering her chicks under her bosom, that whole Middle Eastern terrain, the whole world, except for those crazy countries that are still out there rebelling against their maker. Then they won't get rain, they won't harvest crop, they will suffer famine. in the millennial reign, but everybody else is going to be singing the praises of the God of the universe. So therein lies Muhammad being squelched once and for all. So you are better off becoming Christian now, Muslims. I mean, you're gonna do it later. I'm just saying, eventually, girl, eventually, dude, I'm just saying, you're gonna come. So rather now. And if you sit it out, write it out until the tribulation is over, Mamela, allegedly, apparently, a whole third of the earth's population is going to pass away in the tribulation based on calculations by many theological scholars. I mean, why do you think you're so special to be the one person that's actually still living, emaciated, coughing dust, amidst a third of the earth's citizenship that are still alive after all those seal judgments, trumpet judgments, bowl judgments, upon you rejecting the mark of the beast and so getting to the 7-year mark, emaciated like an anorexic? What makes you think that you're going to survive all that hardship? Honey, always be humble enough to gauge yourself as the norm rather than the exception. Most people are in the norm. See yourself as that. Don't think you're special and spectacular because today you are arrogant. Realize that if you don't give your life to Christ now as a Muslim, you are highly unlikely, at least by a third, by 2/3, majority, going to make the tribulation. You're gonna just pass away holding on to your own law. Just get saved now. Just get saved now. Come with us in the rapture or Jacob's trouble. There after we leave and so prove to you that booyah, Christianity is real, prophecy has been fulfilled, the rapture happened. Okay, get then saved. Then. If you're that stubborn to believe in your random Allah, who is a fallen angel, then get saved after the rapture. But if even the rapture having happened, you still don't believe, but you are privy to my content, you are not going to make it, the most of you, to second coming until God himself convinces you, removes the scales of your eyes, that I am he. The Lord will finally recover a bitter Ishmael back to himself. But by then, just like, I mean, listen, Islamists, those of you of the Abrahamic religion, Abrahamic religions that are in Islam, can you just take a listen and like on the ground? God rescues a remnant of Jews, a remnant. And they are the original people. They're Isaac. They are the original people. They are the ones that he wanted all along. They are the ones that we came from, that God used us to make them jealous. They are the ones that gave the gospel at first. They are the chosen people, the Hebrews, the Jews. Nina and Batandi, God chose them first. And out of them, he salvages from what, again, biblical scholars calculate only a third of those that are alive in Jacob's trouble. Already the Jews are not many on earth. They're a small number, and they're the only nationality on earth that has got only one country, right? One of the only nationalities on earth that have got one country. Think about the Swahili language. How many countries in Africa out here have Swahili people in it, Swati people in it? In South Africa, we've got a language called Sotho. There are Sothos that have their own country in South Africa, but they also have their own country in what we call Lesotho. The same is true of Botswana. Spanish, that language. We've got a whole bunch of Spanish-speaking countries in South America, Colombia, Mexico, Spain itself, in Europe, many countries with a language, right? No, a nation that has a language, but whose people call one country in particular home, are just littered across the earth. And the Jews have only one nation, whereas the Islamic countries of this world have got so many nations that are Islamic, and they even divide between Shiite, Muslim, and you get my point, all those divisions in Islam. They've got Turkey, they've got what do you call this? They've got Turkey. I can't really call Gaza a nation, like whatever, Philistia. It's supposed to be part of Israel, but let's call it Palestine. They've got Turkey, they've got Palestine, they've got Iran, they've got Lebanon, they've got in Africa, Libya, they've got Algeria. They've got Muslim countries, and now it looks like Nigeria is tapering towards being Islamic, but Nigeria, in all fairness, is like split half and half in two between Christians and Muslims. But the Muslim caliphate, they're so violent that they're out here trying to eliminate Christians. They've got many countries on the earth, these Islamists, that whose entire nation is based on that religion. Christians have got many nations on the earth that call themselves Christians, even though we've got many languages. Yeah, the Jews with their language and their religion are literally only with one place on the earth, and it is apparently the size of New Jersey. And you are out here bullying the living daylights out of them. Bullying the living daylights out of them. Wherever they've been scattered, you also bully them there. Now, these people with these kind of crazy incendiary statistics, the Lord has chosen them, and so they're wreaking havoc in everybody's life, right? And because of that, everybody's gonna hate them ever more, because God got their back, because they're Abel and you're Cain, and you're gonna try to kill them, and God is gonna cast you out of the land in favor of the new reimagined version of themselves, otherwise known as Seth. God just keeps on bringing them forth as surviving plants in a war zone full of radioactive material. Yet there is a plant growing there. Those are the Jews. They just keep thriving. And now they've only got one country and you want to take it, and God gave it to them. And only a third of them out of that whole country apparently allegedly get salvaged for Jesus. The rest die. The rest go to Hades. The rest endure the second death. If God will salvage only a third of these people that only have one country, that are the apple of his eye, Nina, that are littered across the earth, Lilibangataso, having bullied them like that, what makes you think that he's going to salvage more of you than of them? The fathers of the faith, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, were Jewish. They were not Muslim. And yet, you imagine that you're going to make it to the end of the tribulation and so be salvaged when you try to kill off Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You are unlikely going to make it. The Muslims of the earth, you're not going to be the only ones that get to the very end of the tribulation. There's going to be many other people from everywhere. Abantu are here from Nzansi, cousins of man from second mothers twice removed, only one surviving in the whole family, out here amputated and everything. And then the second coming of the Lord happens and they're scared, they're very afraid. Yeah, out of that third, only a small percentage is Muslim. So you who are Muslim today, stubborn to repent, with the statistics being that God will salvage a third of the Jews, and the rest of you who will make it to the end without taking the mark of the beast, what percentage of you are Muslim that are alive today think you're going to get to that great and final awesome and terrible day of the Lord? Maybe 5%, perhaps 3, 10 on a good day. 10 is still not 33.3%, otherwise known as a third. You're not going to be given the kind of favor that the Jews have. You're not going to be given the kind of favor that the Gentiles who embraced Jesus have, because they've embraced their Messiah. The reason why you will not be given the same favor as the Jews is because you're not his original chosen people. You are Ishmael and not Isaac. And the reason why you're not going to be given the Gentile population's favor is because we're going to be in heaven, coming to rule and reign with Christ for 1,000 years. You're only going to be given the same shot that everybody else on earth that was maintained in their stubbornness and didn't repent all the way up until the end but still didn't take the mark of the beast. Yeah, you're going to be given the same shot as all of them. You are the one Abrahamic religion that is not given all that much favor. The Jews have all that favor. The Christians have all that favor, to a point where we are going to rule and reign with Jesus for 1,000 years. You, on the other hand, are still going to be in your mortal bodies, having to embrace the cross like we did and live with your little body that has no superpowers for however long the Lord will linger your thing on earth. And then your progeny, your offspring, are going to inherit long lives like Methuselah, because they were born in the millennium. You're just putting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up for grabs. You're being severely in denial that being Ishmael, and so therefore without the inheritance, albeit being the firstborn, that you're gonna rebel against God only for you to walk around as a wax figurine in the climate of gargantuan, avatar-sized, or at least in spirit, saints with incorruptible bodies right next to elect Jews that gave their life to Christ and so got caught up, got given incorruptible bodies at the second coming of Christ, who have been redeemed saints for, I believe, the last 3.5 years of the tribulation. And so they get caught up in the second coming and then come down again in incorruptible bodies. With us, you who are not born again at the second coming must necessarily walk the rest of your life these streets, getting old and everything. The only among the Abrahamic religions worth of converts to Christianity that don't get incorruptible bodies. I mean, that is a raw deal, dog. It's a raw deal. It's a raw deal. Humble yourself to the fact that your forefather Ishmael was not Isaac. He was not chosen to be a father unto all the nations and to be the ones to proliferate the word of God. Accept it, but accept that God so loved the sons of Abraham that he will recover them to himself at his second coming. Enough for you to repent today. Convert from Islam to Christianity today, so that you can go up in the sky, enjoy the wedding supper, and then come down with an unshakable body. So you can look at the rest of your Islam brethren on some, you guys were silly. You can look at the rest of your Islamic brethren and be like, you wasted time, because now look at you out, you're getting all old and stuff when you don't got it. Anyway, so that's my little olive branch to the Islamic faith, people. Do what you want to do with that information, run with it like Casta Semenya proper. I'm cool, I'm moving on. All right, yeah. Now, and then reverting to this cup of staggering in the Middle East, that is Israel, Iran, the surrounding nations they're going to stage a secondary final mutiny against Israel called the Gog and Magog battle, that's going to then throw this peace and security deal awry. Because if you're gonna make out of yourself little army vessels around the cup of staggering, God is then gonna earthquake the living daylights out of you and rescue Israel supernaturally. But what's going to cause them to have that level of a bold-faced attack on Israel? The elimination of the US. And I believe that the elimination of the US is going to come as a result of people, because of the restraint of being removed, losing their minds and out here using weapons of mutual destruction, mutually assured destruction, weapons of mass destruction against countries until the US is flat like pita bread, and so unable to come for Israel. And only at that stage will then y'all be out here in these ugly streets of earth, because you've made them ugly with sin. Y'all in these ugly streets of the planet, you will then go on right ahead and try and take Israel finally, because no more is there America. And it is going to be all that calamity that's then gonna, make it, mobilize it, ascertain that it's a thing, the Antichrist system, until you gotta take the mark of the beast or die. Now, speaking of the mark of the beast, I was listening to, again, please watch this channel, it's for your edification, it's called Prophecy Today. Prophecy Today, all right? It's got excellent speakers, and there is a video there in that I watched where this guy was like, I know that y'all be out of filling Elon Musk like he's your teddy bear and you're hugging it. Like wary of this guy. Because of Elon Musk's little spat against Trump recently, even though he's reconciled, I spoke about that in my last video. I then realized there's more to him than Mr. I. He's always going to stand with the highest bidder. So because of what Elon Musk did, my Ariel is up and attuned to carefulness where he's concerned. I'm no longer as doting and trusting of him, even though I still love him like a fat kid loves cake. All right? I know he can't possibly be the Antichrist, but I know that he will always sell out to the highest bidder that enables his agenda alone. And Elon Musk has been spoken of in this Prophecy Today video channel, where it is that I'm like, whoa, like really and truly, how did I not see this? Mamela, the beast system has to be built before. The Antichrist is not going to start building the system when he's out here walking these streets. He's already walking them, but once he's already powerful, right? Yeah, he is going to need it to be already in place. And Elon Musk, he's too eerily creating a beast system that already kind of looks like it. First of all, Klaus Schwab in some World Economic Forum meeting, he said that everybody's going to have a chip in their brain so we can monitor them. Elon Musk has now innovated this Neuralink, right? Go and listen to it with grander, in-depth understanding so you can get better articulation of this thing that I'm saying in that video, yeah, Prophecy Today. Please do that. Otherwise, I'm going to throw you headlong. My paraphrasing, but I'm going to do as best as I can. There's the Neuralink. Klaus Schwab, never mind the Neuralink, but this Neuralink is, I guess, going to control people. I already spoke about how the Neuralink potentially is going to control how people think, and that's why people are going to be prepared to hand over their own family members to be killed, right? That's Neuralink. That likely is the foundation of the mark of the beast. Understand that when there is a calamity and a disaster so gargantuan as, for instance, the rapture, stuff that is presently very slowly moving right now will suddenly be expedited, catalyzed by a state of emergency. So how slowly the technology of the Neuralink is being proliferated, especially considering Elon Musk is yet to move successfully to human trials, is going to suddenly just ramp up speedily because the rapture has happened. It's a disaster that warrants it. Okay, I spoke even in the other video about how it is that Elon Musk is going to get cooped up by the highest bidder, who is in Europe, because America's going to be flattened like pita bread, and Elon Musk is going to have to find a place to lay his head at night, and he's going to go to Europe, and so he is going to pair with the revived Roman Empire. Herein lies this guy out just speaking these things, causing an aha moment all up in your uneasy grill, right? Yeah. And he speaks about the Neuralink, and then he says that SpaceX, his basically outer space traveling jet rocket company that's trying to colonize Mars because it's traveling in and out of space. Because Elon Musk did not want to have to tap on the shoulder of NASA every single time he needed to go to space. Guys, come on, give me a rocket. Yeah, he created his own rocket company because he's that billionaire. So that's, people are just shooting out of the earth thinking that they can run away from it. But what's shooting out of the earth so easily? There's then the infrastructure that is Neuralink, not Neuralink, but Starlink. Elon Musk, Starlink, right? Starlink is threatening or promising to be, right now it's not a threat, it looks like a really beautiful thing, but in the long run it's a threat to basically have one central Wi-Fi for the whole planet. Today, we be out here subscribing to Vodacom Wi-Fi, every host Wi-Fi, MTN Wi-Fi. You get my point, right? Telco, anyway, Telco Mobile, T-Mobile if you're in the UK, you get my point. There are many companies that offer Wi-Fi services, and Elon Musk has got one that's actually hanging out in outer space where he's trying to provide Wi-Fi wherever you may find yourself, even in the deepest and most wildest of wildernesses. When you're caught slap bang in the center of the Kalahari, you suddenly, oh my, thanks to Muskie, you've got, even though you might not have telecommunications, like basically signal. You know how sometimes you might not have signal to make calls on your telco mobile, but you can make a data call because you've got Wi-Fi, because your Wi-Fi is very strong. Yeah, Elon Musk is trying to provide you Wi-Fi Uruzi as like an aborigine in the outback of Australia, or a Khoisan hanging out somewhere in South Africa, or some bush dweller that is still in the caves, however with strangely a smartphone all up in his uneasy grill. Yeah, pinging onto Wi-Fi, able to watch a YouTube video from the Kalahari, deeply rooted in some desert that telco towers cannot reach. so you can make data calls and you can be able to get news in real time. Starlink promises to be that thing where you'll have Wi-Fi, seeing as the connectivity of it is in outer space across the world. And right now, people are not going to be prepared to easily sign up with Starlink. Like, South African politicians are too corrupt to accommodate Starlink. Matter when there is a global disaster like the rapture, suddenly nations are going to be signing up for it, because even our infrastructure, listen to this, our infrastructure keeps on getting destroyed, like telecommunications poles. In the book of Revelation, in Revelation 6, we know that there are not little, but really gargantuan rocks from the planet, from not the planet, but from above the planet, that are going to fall here. A meteor shower, asteroids. There's going to be rocks falling. I don't know the difference between a meteor and an asteroid. I'm not a meteorologist. Please do a better thing. Okay? Don't come at me, but rocks from the sky are going to fall on the earth. And I mean, can you imagine what, if at all, a hurricane, a tempest of sorts, can do away with your electricity for 5 hours or for 5 days because they're busy fixing up poles? Of course, then even telco poles are going to be interrupted by this hail of whatever you want to call it. Okay, this hail of meteors falling down on the planet is going to destroy telecommunications infrastructure in many countries. The other day I had this horrific nightmare where I was at the beach swimming in some ocean. I don't know whether it was Cape Town or Durban, but I was certainly in South Africa in some oceanic city, and I was in the Hlongwane out here on holiday, and the water started to rise with me being in the ocean. I could imagine the horror of people that are surfing at sea and people that are swimming in the at sea when a tsunami starts to happen. A tsunami started to happen in this dream while I was in the water, and I knew that what I needed to do was swim up as fast, as best as I can, and then strangely fly to high ground. I prospered to fly to high ground, and I made my way to Johannesburg. But the people in Johannesburg were giving me so much crazy shade and attitude. They were still unloving, even though our coastal regions had been entirely engulfed by water. I told you there's going to be a whole chunky tsunami that's going to raise the tides of the oceans so high that water is going to literally be at our feet in Joburg, and all the coastal cities are going to be underwater. And the tsunami happened, and I swam. I didn't swim. I went to the surface of the water, and then I essentially happened to land in Johannesburg, because dreams are weird that way. But people in Johannesburg, despite seeing these calamities happening in the coastal regions, didn't repent of their sins. They were still passing me shade, giving me grief. I could not make friends anywhere. That was my dream. But whatever. Okay, cool beans and banana peels and apple pies. So Elon Musk, when your countries are being slapped with meteor showers that cause tsunamis, that cause the tides of your country's waters to rise up, covering entire cities. There's no more telco lines reliable. You can't make phone calls anymore because they're all underwater, or at least in certain parts. But if you need to be out there talking to each other and sharing the news very quickly, very suddenly, contracts that took a minute to effect on Earth because South African government is too corrupt. They want 30% of Elon Musk's Starlink because nations are apprehensive, because they take 10 years to sign deals. When y'all can't talk, you can't get the news, you can't find out what's going on because all of your Earth infrastructure is underwater or severely afflicted by meteors. Honey, your country is going to agree on Starlink so you can all finally ping your what do you call this thing, your smartphones to it. And Starlink being then a global, coming from outer space, if it's coming from outer space, it is highly likely that the Lord, because it's his prophecies being fulfilled, it is highly unlikely that they're going to be met with the calamities that are landing on the earth as God is judging the earth. These meteors are stars falling from the sky, but they're highly likely going to miss Elon Musk's satellites because it is imperative for the B system to be built. Ditlo kutsa or ditlo dodja or travel neatly, strangely, around his satellites so that his will be the only Wi-Fi network that countries that have Starlink can tune into. When then that's a whole thingy-mabob. Everybody is on one Wi-Fi network across the world. That's the beginnings right there. If everything needs the internet, including your banking, if anything, everything needs the internet, including how point of sales systems function in stores, grocery stores, and the internet is no longer reliable on Earth because it keeps on getting lambasted by plagues. Oh my, how Elon Musk has come through for us with all of his Starlink technology. The Antichrist system is going to use, it appears, Starlink, and it will be rolled out across the planet so as to limit the amount of hindrance to our network capabilities as possible. When that guy said that and gave that vantage point, I out here in horror, being all shook. I was like, who am I? I'm trembling. We're going home. Okay. That was Elon over there. And then that was Starlink, sorry for it. That's Elon's Starlink. So we've spoken about Neuralink, Starlink. Now Neuralink and Starlink, at some point that chip is going to need to operate with what? The internet of which is what? Starlink. The Starlink internet, of which is what? A central database essentially for the global system, the global systems of the world for money that use this one Wi-Fi network. They can therefore locate you wherever you find yourself. And your credit cards will run, not credit cards, but your monetary system will run off them, blah, 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 etc. Everybody's going to be tagged like a little animal in a farm. Yeah, because of Elon Musk's technology. And then there are his Tesla vehicles, his electric cars, where everybody is actually trying to move away from combustible vehicles. And they want electric vehicles, right? Electric vehicles of which can operate, function, if at all you provide power for them from satellites in the sky. Yet again, herein lies the issue. They can power you with these vehicles. And so people who are presently stubborn to let go of their jet fuel expelling cars will have to throw them away in favor of electric vehicles, because it's going to be that much harder to, I mean, do electric vehicles even use fuel? Do they use gas? I don't know. If they don't use petrol, I guess you charge them. And if you charge a car and don't need fuel, they are apparently allegedly on that day eradicating then the whole problem of carbon emissions. Now, these people are going to blame all the plagues that are falling on the earth on we thought that we had a little bit of time with climate change, but it looks like we didn't. So look at the sky falling, right? And so therefore people are going to be mandated finally. Elon Musk's great dream, and one of the things that he had qualms with that bill that Trump passed, his great dream to mandate electric cars, and he is essentially a market leader in that space. I mean, this dude is actually looking not so much like the Antichrist, but he's right-hand man technologically. Right-hand technological guru. That is his Tesla vehicles. So if they can mandate you driving certain cars, you're dealing with the movie Total Recall, where there's also driverless vehicles, right? You've got driverless vehicles that can go wherever you want them to go, so they can go after criminals, pursue people without police actually responding to a call, because men take forever and a day to get things done. And also you've got, when then you're not obeying the law, they can just stop your car remotely in an electric vehicle. They can remotely stop it because you're not meeting demands or whatever. And then there is the robot thing. You know how Klaus Schwab, World Economic Forum, that whole structure said that we need to basically do away with human jobs and put robots in place because they are more, I guess, green. Elon Musk is making robots, and he has got a vision in the future to, listen to this, have one per household. I mean, the guy is hotly dystopian, but we love him, don't we? We do. I dig him, especially because he's from this country. But he is hotly dystopian. A robot per household. And we all know movies where it is that they've been robots and how they can go awry. These robots are going to be used to monitor activity. They're going to be used to scan people in those households to see if they've got the mark of the beast. They're going to expedite, speed along. The word that I'm looking for is essentially pressurize people who are yet to take the mark of the beast. Once it's been mandated by a certain date, robots are going to be reminding you that Elon Musk wants to put in every household. They're going to be reminding you, I see you haven't taken the mark. When are you going to go? The due date is this. The due date is this. When then you're scared of the robot in your house, honey, you're gonna leave. You're gonna go in the bush if you don't want to take the mark of the beast. The whole family will have to leave that household because of the scary little AI house. The scary little Cassandra house. That's Elon Musk's vision. And then we know that Elon Musk is a transhumanist in the worst way. He certainly believes that human beings can be merged with machines, with artificial intelligence, until they are made a lot better than what they are today. While the mark of the beast promises a transhumanistic type feature about human beings. Haughtier, bolder, better, bigger, more humany. Not more humany, but basically just with grander power than what they presently have. He wants to put superpowers in human beings through technology. He is a transhumanist in the worst way. That's Elon Musk. Batung, he's got the technology to create not only a chip in the brain, but a Wi-Fi network that can actually be messing with that chip in your brain. And the chip can give people ability to walk when they once never were able to walk. So herein lies the miracles of the Antichrist looking like Jesus. Okay, he's got these Tesla cars that are likely going to be the only drivable vehicles, electric ones at that. Maybe not just Tesla, but other brands that are going to come on the market, because there's always copiers to market, right? Copiers to the first entry to market type vehicles. Tesla is a market leader in this regard. He's got them all over the show. Like I said, Neuralink in the sky, in outer space, his SpaceX, and then he names everything XXX, and X is a short name for Christ. So he's a form of like some kind of a self-deifying Antichrist figure. And he went and named X. Twitter X. He could have named it anything else like Elon or Muskie, but he named it X. All right. Not only that, but apparently, allegedly, and I don't even know how this is even possible. I didn't even know that Elon Musk was one of the founders of PayPal. So this dude already has a way around payment systems, okay? I had no idea, but I found out because I'm studying. All right. I then came to learn that he is trying to literally make X some kind of a global payment system that will enable transactions to happen through X. I mean, this is a social media company. I don't even know how a social media company can function as a payment system like PayPal. But Elon Musk got these innovations up his sleeve. It is, however, also a communication platform. And one of the platforms on earth that apparently have no censorship, but there is a type of censorship happening on X. And the woman that he made the CEO of X apparently is one of the advocates out here proliferating a satanic agenda with the World Economic Forum. And yet he claims to be a conservative standing against globalist sentiment because he is Trump's right-hand man. I thoroughly believe that Elon Musk is hanging out sutured next to Donald Trump because he has to be near the world leader to essentially pump up his system so bigly that finally when the Antichrist scoops him up from America, he will be nicely enabled even by legislation to have essentially put in place some of the systems of the beast. So no, Elon Musk is not the Antichrist. He can't be. I've already described what the Antichrist must be. But technologically, he has been single-handedly chosen by God to be, I believe, the wicked for the day of our trouble, the day of Jacob's trouble in the technological space. He's also megalomaniacal, his transhumanistic beliefs in essentially just human immortality. What he has built colonies on, he wants to build a colony on Mars for human beings. Motoona does not, he wants to believe in a way for human beings to continue to exist in perpetuity without the cross. He's already a kind of antichrist. It's unfortunate because I like him. He's already a kind of antichrist that way, and all of that brilliance all up in his brain is unfortunately going to lead him to the abyss. Now, will Elon Musk ever repent? I don't know. He might, but it's unlikely because he already has flared a megalomaniacal disposition on Trump pertaining that bill he passed, and his anger was such that he out here fumed in front of all of us until he realized that it did nothing for him in his general grander scheme of an agenda to be at odds with Trump, and he had to reconcile. He already showed his ugly head. He reared it. He showed his true mission right next to all these other facts about him. Go listen to that video. It'll actually be giving you goosebumps. The beast system is already in place. And you know how Donald Trump, I believe right next to Elon Musk, actually be proliferating Bitcoin in America. I believe all these things are going to come together with Musk's idea in making a payment system out of Twitter or X, right next to Bitcoin, right next to central banking digital currencies. All of these digital systems of money are gonna reach a gentleman's agreement to come together in one little thing that everybody's doing, and then all tune into Neuralink until finally how easy it is to control mankind and their spending is going to be reduced to the mark of the beast. Not only that, the World Economic Forum expressly highlighted that global debt is so exquisite, it is so exponential in its growth, and it's yet to cease hostilities against itself, that it's impractical and impossible for any of us to finally pay off this debt. So we are ever going to be in the red and in the red. So the only way that we are going to deal with global debt, with all the deficits of all of our countries combined, is to essentially scrap them all and start from scratch in creating a new currency across the world. That's what Mr. Charles, King Charles over there, said at one WEF meeting, that our global systems, there's too many trillions that every country owes for us to truly successfully ever eradicate all this debt. So we gotta all start from scratch. And if we start from scratch, we must start from scratch with a one world government, a one world monetary system, where we are all monitoring how much a person borrows, how much a person lends, how much a person spends, and they will own nothing and still be happy. Why will they own nothing? Because if at all we reset global monies, we'll give you food to eat, we'll give you clothes to wear, we'll give you houses to stay in, but you don't get to own anything in and of yourself. It belongs to the state. Because here it is that we ruined ourselves with economic policies, with fiscal policies that are out here collapsing entire economies. So they prosper thanks to a calamity that slaps the planet, to put in place a global system of money that scraps all of our rands, our dollars, our rupees, all of our euros and our pounds, and says one world currency. This currency of which works through Elon Musk's Neuralink, the banking systems that need internet, it's Neuralink. Our credit cards, because we belong to one system, Neuralink, chip of the beast. And if then you've got this chip in you and you've got to be maintained in terms of how it is that you expand your body on the earth, given that all these carbon emissions have given us meteor showers, yeah, there's only so much you can expand. So let's monitor your activity. Social credit. The gooder you are, the better you are, the more behaved as a little girl or a little boy that you are, the less grief we give you. We will surveil you, and maybe we will even deploy a robot per household. Listen, the robot thing, I don't even think it's going to get there, because there's just not going to be, logistically, it's going to be a nightmare given how much the earth is falling apart. But maybe in the Antichrist hubs, like Babylonian systems, like celebrity homes, maybe they'll start to have robots per family unit. Mara, these robots are going to be a tool of surveillance in and of themselves. I also had a vision and dream where it was a vision where I saw drones hovering around society in Jeffela easily. There were a flock of birds fleeing a rainstorm coming. They were just hovering around, surveilling people. And right now there's already drones that have been manufactured that have got thermal signatures that can identify that a person is hiding in some corner because of heat signatures. Drones are that sophisticated now. Drones are out here bombing Russian aircraft, okay? Drones are out here neutralizing Yahya Sinwar. Drones are out here bombing bunkers. Drones are out here putting cameras in places where no one can go. That's what drones are doing. And so therefore, if enough of them are deployed over society just hovering, how many people are going to be able to successfully escape drones? Literally barely any. And so there's going to be a whole beam-barring system by drones, by people, by robots. And like I said, the only way that you're going to survive the Antichrist system is to go, never mind analog, definitely not digital, by paper. Like I've been saying it, I dreamt about the printing press. You're gonna have to go to good old-fashioned nasty old days where Anis Papira is your way to find out the news of yesterday. You're gonna go out of your way to have to basically forget about anything that functions with electricity because it can be driven on by frequencies coming from a Wi-Fi network. You therefore have to use gas stoves. You have to go back to caveman days. You cannot, maybe you can, listen, I don't even like, okay, maybe analog can, no, my typewriters, like basically anything printable. Analog is not even safe because analog is bordering on being digital. They can climb it if they are backward enough in their coding technique, if they use reverse engineering. You literally have got to go right back to good old-fashioned days where everybody was on paper, dog. Offices were heaped to the heavens with files. You have to go back to that. The other day I went to my doctor, not my doctor, but go Medicross, where there are several doctors. And last time I went there, because it's been years since I went to the doctors, I'm out here expecting these ladies when they say, so what's your surname? Hlongwane. I'm out here expecting them to go to the back where they would open something and take out my file. A very neat filing system that they had behind them there, behind the ladies at the reception. And this lady just stayed right there and gave me all my facts. I was like, oh my goodness, they've moved over to digital. All their files have been put in to the system and now they no longer have paperback. And when a doctor sees you, he gets a notification on his computer, says that Karabo is here, and then writes all of his notes pertaining your particular case in his computer. And this information is already updated on the cloud and it goes to the people at the front desk to be in your file again. So if you owe money, you will have to pay at the front, and the people at the front already know that you owe money, blah blah whatever. I was like, everybody is moving over to digital. Well, the stage is set is what I'm getting at. Even your doctors don't carry files anymore. Yeah, eventually if you're going to escape the beast system, nothing in your body can be digital. Nothing can be identified with Wi-Fi. Nothing can work with electricity. I therefore feel very uncomfortable and sad for people with pacemakers in their hearts. I feel sad for people with prosthetic limbs. These are people that are going to have to take the mark, not the mark, sorry, nobody has to take it. They're gonna have to take beheading in their stride. They're going to have to take being killed because medically they just cannot be off-grid. They cannot be off-grid. People that need oxygen masks and that need to be intubated. People that need to travel around. Like in this country, there was a teenage girl that passed away because of load shedding because she was hooked onto machines that breathed for her, and they just stopped one day and there was load shedding for so long that this girl died. Well, certain people with certain comorbidities, if you will, are gonna just die, and if they want Jesus, they're gonna have to accept that just like that, I'm gonna get killed in Jeffela cause I need my pacemaker to keep working. I'm gonna die just like that because I need to keep on breathing with an oxygen machine. Just like they will have to just die. But you know what? To live is Christ, but to die is gain. But those of you that are agile, that can run, that are not on meds like ARVs, and I spoke in my other video that you all need to start preparing stockpiles of these things as soon as the rapture happens, so you can be given the best shot of surviving the tribulation, so the comorbidity of your HIV is not going to knock you out. So it won't knock you out with full-blown AIDS or because of the fact that HIV is having a field day with you. You then decide to take the mark of the beast, so you won't have to die slowly from full-blown AIDS. There are ways to pre-plan in advance before the beast system is effectively is 100% affected to surveil you to the point of excruciating disregard for your humanity if you don't take up their structures. Build stockpiles for yourselves and go deep into the bushes where you will live like cavemen. Stockpile on hot water bottles, the water of which you will boil on little pots that you have in the bush, and put in hot water bottles that, I kid you not, I have survived on hot water bottles throughout very hard knock winters. Blankets that you will gather for yourselves. You'll be warm enough even in the worst of winters by simply burning an mbaula and have a hot water bottle ensconcing your body. That's how you survive winter. And with hot water bottle water, you can replenish it and use it time and time and time again. There's a way to survive the tribulation, but you kind of have to know that it's coming to you in advance. You kind of have to be alert and awake as to what just happened at the date of the rapture. And before they sign that peace deal, that then is going to lead to Gog and Magog battle, that's going to usher in the whole tribulation. Stockpile. I've been saying it. And even then, not in your houses, because you can't live in your houses anymore. Go where Wi-Fi can't catch you, so you can't have cell phones. You cannot be chatting with each other. Nothing of that nature other than through a little birdie that's going to put a note in its beak and fly to you. So if you can't train a bird fast enough to do that, y'all just gonna have to accept that some of your family members you will never find until you get to the sky and discover that they also did not take the marker and they were beheaded. You will have to learn eventually what happened to everybody, but in the beginning, huddle as best as you can, but throw your phones away. Like, don't even carry them, because these phones be out here listening to you. This are charged. And yet when you turn the phone on, whatever you were talking about, you'll be out here getting it as an advertisement on YouTube in the banner. You're getting it in a blog advertised to you in the banners on the side. How did you know my phone was off the whole time I was having this conversation? They're watching. Big brother. So you can't even carry into the wilderness a phone that's offline just for watching videos on it. You can't with your power bank, however, in whatever capacity you're going to be able to charge it. The Starlink in the sky is going to ping to your phone and find you dead as a doornail where you're at. And what's going to find you is not going to be so much vans traveling to you. It's not going to be army vehicles traveling to you. It's going to be drones surrounding you and telling you to stick them up, put them in the air. Else we're going to release live ammunition into your body and you will die fleeing. Essentially, drones that are armed are going to be chasing people around. And that system is already in place largely by one single unitary human being. It had to be one man that had this technology so as to eliminate or alleviate bickering, fighting for business deals, for contracts. When finally he gets together with the Antichrist, it had to be one man with one mindset so as to eliminate division. And God put all that in Elon Musk. Imagine that, some dude from South Africa out here getting his knees ashy in these dusty streets. And one day he becomes the right-hand man, technologically anyway, of the Antichrist. Like, it's inevitable, it's gonna happen. It's clear who Elon Musk now is. Like I said, he's not the Antichrist, but he's certainly his technological right-hand man. It's clear. And there's a guy who had a vision, a woman who had a vision where the Lord showed her that Elon Musk is going to get scooped up by Europe when America falls. Me, I listen to random people's prophecies that I'm not getting listened to on YouTube. Do you understand? Now, that being a whole thing, understand that it is 6:49 in the morning. I am exhausted, baby girl. Exhausted, baby girl. All right? Yeah. Having spoken that, comprehend, therefore, that all these eventualities that happen because of Gog and Magog, that war, and how everybody is surveilled, and how the Jews are told to flee into the wilderness, the mountains of Judea. Drones, you leave your cell phone behind. The Bible makes it clear that don't fetch anything. Don't go downstairs to fetch a jacket. Don't go, just flee. And don't go down to take anything. The Lord is saying, leave your electronics behind. When you are fleeing, leave anything that is essentially not the way that Fred and Wilma Flintstone lived. Leave it behind. Listen, the Jews are not going to have time, because they have no Holy Spirit. They don't believe yet. So they're not going to have time to stockpile hot water bottles. They're not going to have time to stock. But you got that time. You will not believe in a Messiah that's out here fostering a deal between you, Iran, and all of the proxies that it backs. You're not going. You're going to see it for what it is, meaning that you've got a little bit of time. Use that time to have an advantage on the Jews that are only going to wake up and smell the uncomfortable coffee in the midway mark of the tribulation. You don't gotta be that girl, neither that guy. Do not waste the time you have so as to minimize your sorrow. So now let me tell you something. This dream that I had with the tsunami, where I swam to the surface and then landed in Johannesburg and people were still mean. In it, I was walking around with this one girl that I was friends with at Nedbank, where I used to work as a call center agent. She was also a call center agent. Very kind chick. Tall, dark in complexion. Mara, this girl, I don't know if she didn't get love from her dad or what, but she was such a suck up to everybody. She used to break my heart because she was my friend. I felt like she didn't need to do this. Herein lies it being almost 7 a.m. in the morning and the dogs are barking as like usual. Anyway, whatever. So please ignore the dog. I will also try as best as possible to ignore the dog. This chick unarekela watu di lunch. She would buy everybody, like guys that was just ridiculous. You could tell they were using her. She would buy them lunch. It's like she was buying love. She just wanted so much to be accepted that she would use her salary to buy everybody everything. And this chick, even though she had a 9-to-5 job as a call center agent, she in and of herself was a rich kid. She had a rich dad and everything. She didn't, no, she had to work because she wanted her own career. Mara, call center because I mean, so what? I'm young too and I'm yet to get my degree. I'm just gonna work here. She wanted to work and didn't have to. So she had a lot more money than any of us. And she used to spoil some freaky dudes in the call center. Do you understand? Company le batho ba mo appreciate. And so she would buy her way into their hearts, girls and guys alike. And I would look at this woman's activity and say to myself, you don't have to do this. You have no idea how valuable you are. I think that chick was like that because Onalim, these dogs are distracting me as well. I think this chick was like that because she was very dark in complexion and she had like an acne issue. She was pretty with a desperate need to go and see a dermatologist, and she was tall, kind of biggish, right? She was taller even than me. Even gone, and I'm tall. I'm 1.75 meters tall. And not, she looked like a model. However, she was slightly, just a little bit, ever so much bigger than they would ever accept a model. And Nahape, she had bad skin that given that you're a rich kid, come on, your dad can just send you to a dermatologist and you will then clear it. But at this point, she was still walking around with quite a bad case of acne. And I think that because of her experiences in high school, I believe that because of her experiences in high school with this demeanor, with this physical appearance of hers, that for me, I thought she was gorgeous. Only issue was that she had a bad case of acne. Okay, I would imagine that nakwariwa kuskolong umnyama or this or that, and she may be likely discovered when she was perhaps in grade 11 or matric that if you pay your way, you'll become popular with people. Buy them lunch at school, buy them that. And then she just grew up and started working in corporate South Africa and decided that she's going to keep on buying everybody's lunch. And I used to find how much she was financing everybody's agenda unfortunate, because clearly nangenga. And to me, I imagined, if only you knew how valuable you are, you would not be spoiling people so they can love you. You don't need to do that. That's the problem. And at this stage, you're already 22 or something. You're kind of old for you to be having these issues. Only as a teenager, maybe. She also had braces at that stage. And I was like, girl, if you've got braces on your teeth, you can see a dermatologist too. You fixed your teeth because you saw that you needed an orthodontist. Just go and take some Roaccutane for 6 months or whatever. And you will clear your skin. And then you will be itak dindi after crossing the veins of these streets looking like a model. Mara, she was already kind of bride, like a chicken on a rotisserie. Everything. This friend of mine from the call center, I had a dream of me walking around like I was her. People around me because I wanted to be accepted. I was so teased and so violated that I eventually became like my friend from the call center. Let's say her name was Khomotso. I became like Khomotso. And then the dream ends with me realizing there's a tsunami, going above, landing in Johannesburg, and still having all of South Africa pass me shade because I am maintained as a Christian. Essentially, that was witchcraft intended to make me capitulate and suck up to wicked men and wicked women in order for me to gain their affection. That chick used to buy everything for everyone, even though she didn't have to and she did not understand her own value. Well, that's just the thing. I'm set apart by the Lord. Like King Zizi in that poem, I'm a woman of a different status. 31 to be exact. I belong to Christ. I know who I am in him and I believe what he says about me. And granted that the Lord has got these sentiments about me, I therefore don't allow myself anymore like I used to back in the day to essentially, for the sake of love, marriage, get a guy that doesn't make sense, or out here hide myself, bury myself in some kind of a dingy, dark space of self-erosion.